Let's have another episode of GURPSifying the Bestiary. This time, let's adapt MTG Slivers. Why am I specifying that it's an MTG monster? Because there is a D&D creature called Sliver in Dragon Magazine 353 that is completely unrelated to the MTG Sliver. Also, aren't MTG and D&D now in the same universe? But anyway, who are the Slivers? Slivers are slithering beings with one arm that ends in a talon and an armored crest for the head. They share a hive mind which allows them to share abilities with other nearby slivers. They are not sapient, aside from the unique sliver queen that controls the hive mind. There are also evolved slivers that are humanoid. Personally, I think this is an awful design, and I have not seen even a single person saying that anything positive about the humanoid slivers. So this hive mind sharing is a signature ability of the Slivers, but since MTG is a card game and not a lot of lore is available on the topic of slivers, I'll have to infer some other properties of these creatures. Let's build the base creature first, something like a 1/1 colorless sliver creature token. I haven't found any card that depicts a sliver and a human together, so I'll have to guesstimate their size. They look human-sized, so let's make them SM+0. They are predatory, so they probably are more agile and tough than most humans. So let's give them +2 to dexterity, +1 to HT and +0.25 to basic speed. They are not sapient, so make their racial IQ 3 and give +8 to will and perception. What about the body? It doesn't have any legs, so let's give it no legs slithers. I will not give it horizontal, or it will be unable to attack properly. It seems that double-jointed is appropriate here as well. It probably should have amphibious, like many snakes do. It does not have any eyes, so let's give it injury tolerance, no eyes. Skull and face are protected by bony plates. Then, obviously, it only has one arm, talons, and no fine manipulators. The slivers are said to be predatory, so I gave them restricted diet carnivore. I also decided to give them reduced consumption too. I don't see any mouth, so I will assume that there is one on the underside of the bony head. It's definitely not a primary attack, so I gave the sliver weak bite. I couldn't find any information about the life cycle and reproduction, but I think that short lifespan too and early maturation too will fit well. Can slivers make any sounds? I decided that since they are a hive mind species, I will give them wild animal with mute. Slivers are said to prefer warm climates, so maybe they are cold-blooded? I also gave them temperature tolerance to hot. Also, the slivers are said to sleep while hanging upside down from the ceiling of a cave, so I gave them the clinging advantage. By the way, remember that slivers have no eyes? How do they see then? Since they are said to dwell in caves and sleep while hanging upside down, like bats, maybe they should have sonar? Maybe the shape of their heads also has something to do with it. I decided to give them blindness and the hunting sonar ability from GURPS Power's enhanced senses. Finally, I have to tackle the hive mind ability. I did it by giving it Mind Link and Telesend with broadcast, racial and video modifiers, plus the telepathy power modifier. But how do they share abilities with one another? This is the signature trait of the slivers in MTG. I decided to do it in reverse. They do not share their abilities with one another, but they borrow abilities from one another. I started it up as cosmic power that lets the sliver borrow racial abilities from other slivers of its hive by spending 8 hours in seclusion. The racial template has a pool of 20 points that can be rearranged this way, but individual slivers can have more. Thus, all sliver hives will be different, sometimes significantly. Some hives, for example, can have reflex slivers that have combat reflexes on their racial templates, and other slivers will be able to borrow this advantage. Other hives might have wings or psionic attacks or whatever. And that's it. The sliver was actually much more simple than I thought at first. So let's also make a humanoid sliver, mostly by removing certain traits from the normal sliver. Obviously, it now has legs, 2 arms, sharp claws instead of talons, and it can probably vocalize now. It's not blind anymore, but it also loses sonar. Head armor is replaced by weaker uniform plating, double jointed is replaced with flexibility, and amphibious and clinging are removed. Bam, done! Humanoid slivers are however boring, I just made them here for completionism's sake. And I'm done here. Slivers might have double jointed, but in terms of narrative usage, they are not flexible. They can only really be used as a mass of disposable enemies, or you could center the story on their sentient queen or overlord, and that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.